my Knights of God. I wanted to talk to you today again about Alpha Wolf communities, just so you can really understand the intention behind the Alpha Wolf Knights of God. So Alpha Wolf communities is an initiative that I have created through Alpha Wolf Consulting, which is a business for change. So it's a thesis that I have basically for the future development of the business industry and corporate sector is a business for change, which is a business that dedicates profit to solving problems. Do you sort of get it? So they create their own organization to solve the problem and self-fund it. So the reason for this is because I looked at all the different funding models for organizations that benefit people. So the thesis that I'm trying to prove is that it is more profitable for businesses to invest into people than not to. So I'm basically trying to prove a thesis that it's profitable to help people. When I prove that it's profitable to help people, well, it's going to become fucking pretty easy for people to dedicate themselves to helping others. Do you sort of get it? So looking at all the different funding models, you have charities, non-for-profits, and then you have philanthropy or self-funded. But the real thing is that like business is a tool. A business or a company is a tool to generate income through the creation of value. So what I realized is if a business's purpose is to generate income and its whole sort of structure and orientation is towards, i.e. maximizing profit or generating profit, then if it was to dedicate profit to solving problems, well, all the problems would be funded. So businesses are the way to solve our problems within our communities and to fund what we need. Because imagine if regional businesses came together within, let's say, an Australian community, a regional community, and self-funded, like doctors and surgeons. Do you sort of get it? So right now we all rely on the government, and the government gets to tax us. And you know what I mean? They get to set the taxes and all of that, and we pay that, and then basically they set the budget out and they divvy out the budget. But the downside to this is, especially in healthcare, we have sacrifices in the quality of care based on either financial metrics of investment, so not enough investment, there's not enough beds in the hospital, or there's not enough doctors or nurses, or it's through affordability. People can't afford the treatment. Do you sort of get it? So we start to see that we're shooting ourselves in the foot by self-regulating, or the government is, by self-regulating healthcare, which leads to the quality of life being lowered, death, disease, illness, like a lot of preventable diseases kill people because of lack of medical support or medical aid. So we start to understand, if we have a model of business, rather than me trying to maximize my profits to buy a fucking Bugatti like some egotistical little bitch, I'm maximizing my profits to invest into the communities I'm working within or I'm a part of. And not through these egotistical investment structures, but through real investment structures. Do you sort of get it? Where I literally if I say I'm going to feed the homeless, like, I'm not just going to get donations of food to feed the homeless. I'm going to go out, fucking buy a farm, build out farming infrastructure, and then produce enough food to feed the homeless. Do you sort of get it? So now we're getting into the structure of Alpha Wolf communities, where it is a business level, i.e. business support, building out business, building out economies. Then there is the food structuring, building out food infrastructure. Do you get it? Building farms, building logistical supply chains. Do you sort of get it? And solving these problems, rather than us trying to solve the problem through non-profit or through charity. We solve the problem by creating a business structure to then fund the program. Do you sort of get it? So it's about creating self-funded programs and creating business structures around them to create sustainable funding for future. So it's very important that we start to understand this, because this is very important. So Alpha Wolf Community's goal is to buy large acreage farming. So when I say large, I'm talking 100 to 1,000 acres, and then basically to introduce First Nation and like permaculture and all different advanced horticulture, so sustainable horticulture, and then things like forest farming to deal with not only climate change or the climate problems, but to also deal with our dependence on fertilizers, our dependence on artificial farming or unsustainable farming. So it's really important that we start to understand the importance of this, but also the purpose behind it. Do you sort of get it? So if we think about, like, let's take homelessness for example. Like, what is homelessness? Homelessness is the lack of support or loss of support and the lack or loss of opportunity. That's it. That's what makes you homeless. That's what makes you sort of unable to get yourself up, is that you cease to have access to support networks and you cease to have opportunities for you to get back on your feet. So we overcome that through business structuring and incentive programs, but also through creating industry that will require workers. Do you sort of get it? So it's really important that we understand this, because this is the most important thing, that when we're trying to solve the problem of homelessness, it is not like homelessness is the outlier in terms of the standard deviation in terms of extremes. So those who are more susceptible to homelessness are those that are more volatile in their living standards or their living situations. Do you sort of get it? So they're always going to be the first affected. So creating structures of stability for those will solve the homeless issue in one part. The other part is affordability and housing supply. Do you sort of get it? And then cost of living. So like an important thing to realize, especially with cost of living, is we no longer, since we moved to a fiat economy and since the early 2000s, when perceived value became the insider secret, like our whole economy shifted from market value to perceived value. Do you sort of get it? It's why my programs are priced higher than anyone else. Because if we're playing the game of perceived value, motherfucker, I perceive my time to be fucking valued, like to be so valuable that I'm going to make you pay through the nose. Do you sort of get it? But there's no realness to it. So like, how much does it cost to grow an apple? Do you know what I mean? Woolworths will tell you it costs fucking $26 or whatever bullshit they want, because that's how much they're charging you. Do you sort of get it? Like, they're screwing us over because they're creating perceptions around like crises, but also around the true cost or the nature of cost. Like, when I own all the subsidiary businesses and I'm charging myself to operate my business, while like Google, Apple and Facebook, or not Facebook, Microsoft found out, like, it's a pretty good idea that I get manufacturing really cheap, get it to a low tax play, like a low tax haven place, and then I charge every other place that's got high tax through the nose for the product. I.e., your iPhone may cost $1,800, but to get it to Australia, it's $1,600. And then miraculously, there's only $200 profit in it. And it's like, Apple, you own the manufacturing. How the fuck can it cost you that much? Do you sort of get it? But that's just tax manipulation. So we got to understand that these structures and hierarchies that are governing us in terms of the way in which we buy consumer products and the type of consumer products that we buy, like, we're overpaying through the nose through inflation. And realize this, inflation is simply the devaluation of the currency. And devaluation can only happen in two cases. One case is through dilution, introducing more money into the economy, and the second way is through like economic collapse or asset collapse. So for example, if the price of gold went to zero and we had large gold reserves, we now have an asset that's worthless. Do you sort of get it? So our dollar now becomes worth less because there's less money in the economy. Do you sort of get it? We didn't lose the asset is just devalued. Do you sort of get it? Because our economy, if you think of it, is just like it's like our national asset. So like, if a business is earning $1 million a year, like, that's $1 million a year asset towards the overall collective or system or ecosystem of business within Australia. Do you sort of get it? So our economy cannot affect inflation. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, if our if what we value our dollar against goes down, our dollar goes down. Do you sort of get it? So our dollar in Australia is backed by the US dollar. So if the US dollar goes down, our dollar goes down. If $1 million is lost from the economy, our money doesn't go down. Do you sort of get it? Like, the dollar doesn't, nothing happens to the dollar. Our economy just shrinks, but the dollar remains the same. So the only way that the dollar can go down, if the US dollar hasn't lost value, is by overspending or introducing more money into the economy. And this is why our economy is so crazy and our cost of living is so crazy and our inflation is so high, is because we allow the governments to spend additional money over debt. Do you sort of get it? So we keep introducing or diluting our currency. So it's really important that we understand this, because these governmental structures and systems are the reason that our world is the way that it is.